Welcome to the world's first ever episode of
Jewish Jesus Jamboree. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bow!
Welcome to Jewish Jesus Jamboree, where we want to celebrate Jesus in his Jewish cultural and historical context, and we want to have a good time doing it. Jamboree, by the way, means a large celebration, typically a lavish and boisterous one. And Jesus is worthy of all the jamboreeing. This, by the way, is the quarantine edition of the vertical class that I was teaching on Sunday mornings, where we did the exact same thing, because it doesn't look like we're going to be able to finish that. So we're going to do it here. But you might be asking yourself, why do we need to try to understand Jesus in his Jewish cultural context? And to answer that question, I want to ask, how many of you have ever been confused while reading your Bible? Raise your hand. I certainly have. And that's probably because when we read the Bible, when we read the words of Jesus in the New Testament, we read them as if they were written to us, 21st century Americans, when in reality, the Bible, the New Testament, was written 2,000 years ago to people on the other side of the planet. So it shouldn't really surprise us that it doesn't make sense to us, because the people who were listening were seeing the things that Jesus was saying while he was saying them. They knew the cultural, historical information that we don't know. They spoke a language that we don't speak. A lot of them had large portions, if not all of the Old Testament, completely memorized. So they were drawing on that knowledge all the time. So it really shouldn't surprise us that the things that he said made sense to them, but they don't make sense to us. My brain automatically comes up with analogies to try to explain things sometimes. So this is one that my brain came up with for this. Try to follow it. Ready? Here we go. So there once was this man from a very remote village in Venezuela. No electricity, no running water, nothing like that. And then one day, just like that, he finds himself standing in the middle of New York City. There are flashing lights and cars driving by, people everywhere. He's totally overwhelmed. He's never seen anything like it in his whole entire life. So he starts walking to try to make sense of this whole thing. And as he's walking, eventually he stands before this great rectangle. And he's absolutely enthralled with the rectangle. He looks around, other people are also enthralled with the same rectangle. And as he looks at it, he sees many men trapped within the rectangle. And it seems that the goal of all the men in the rectangle is to catch a little brown egg. And they're even willing to hurt one another to do it. And as he's watching, he's so confused. And he's like, we don't do this in Venezuela. I've never seen this many men try to catch one egg before. It's not that hard. What is going on? So he looks to someone who's near him, and he figures out a way to ask what the heck is going on. And this guy looks at him with a weird face, and he's like, never seen the Super Bowl before? That might sound crazy, but that's basically exactly what we're doing when we open up this book and try to read these ancient texts from a 21st century American perspective. That's why sometimes we're confused, sometimes a little scared. It's just not going to work. But we can really help ourselves by looking into the historical and cultural context behind the things that Jesus was doing and saying 2,000 years ago to help us understand. And with all the resources we have these days, it's really not that hard. This is something that I really enjoy doing, and I found it to be super helpful. So I want to share a few of the things that I have learned with you here in these videos. My goal is not to tell you everything I know, which is not that much. But instead, I just want to get you excited about it so you can see how awesome it is, so you can go and do it yourself. So it's kind of like when you walk past Burger King and you smell all the burgers being cooked in there, and it really makes you want one. Your mouth starts watering and stuff. So I kind of want to make understanding the cultural context of the Bible like the smell of a burger on the nose of your heart, if that makes sense. That's going to be it for this one. I hope you're excited to learn more about Jesus in his Jewish context. I love talking about this stuff, so I think it's going to be a good time. But for now, I'll have to see you on the next episode of
The Jewish Jesus Jamboree. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bow!